Broncos currently have a quarterback room of Zach Wilson and Jarrett the Javelin Stidham. Also sitting at 12 in the draft, and Peyton Manning reported that they like J.J. McCarthy. Take a listen.
Impressive to talk to, and I know Denver's very interested in him, and it sounded like, this is a place he'd love to come to. So, but it's a little bit out of his control.
Okay. You like this?
Oh, please trade up for JJ.
You don't think he'll be there?
No!
I do.
At 12?
Yeah.
I'll bet you, I'll give you 5 to 1 on any amount of money. I'll give you 5 to 1 right now.
I think he's going to fall.
There is no, okay, we can talk about it off the air. There is no chance JJ McCarthy's available at 12. Whether or not he should be is a different story. There's no chance. And so you'd have to trade up to get him. And please mortgage your future for J.J. McCarthy, Sean Payton. Probably have to trade with you guys. Probably have to trade with New England.
Why is there no chance?
Because the entire idea behind the Vikings getting an extra first-round pick was to move up to get a quarterback. Their first-round pick is at 11. Somehow, if they don't move up to draft J.J. McCarthy, they are certainly drafting him at 11. So there is no chance he is there at 12. None. The Bo Nix, Michael Penix part of the draft, quarterback-wise, are the people we're talking about at 12. So, listen, Sean Payton is drafting a quarterback. He is not going into his second season drawing dead at the quarterback position. So they'll probably, you either overdraft Bo Nix or you trade up to draft somebody else. And I think it would be a terrible move, but because, for my entire life I've disliked the Broncos and their rival, I hope they make bad moves. But that's where I stand.
I said it yesterday. Go have a conversation with ownership. We're going to be bad this year.
Brood wants them to be the worst team in the league.
Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, my God.
It's not a plan.
What?
Being the worst team in the football is not a plan. You can't.
Shedeur Sanders is not going to be good in the NFL.
This is a plan, and I'm not down.
Mark
I'm not
my
as down
words.
on
I'll give
J.J.
you 5 to
McCarthy as
1.
you. I think he's more athletic than people give him credit for. He's got ability.
Sure.
But is that a great situation for him? And if it's not, now you're locked into him for a few years, and Shedeur and others are going to go away. So, look, they're not going to be any good this year.
Look, we got to look at the quarterback room and just pull it up. And I know we mentioned it, but when you really look at the quarterback room, they got to do something.
It's bad.
So Stidham, he's played 5 years. He's only started 4 games.
Some people used to.
Zach's only won 12 games, and he's lost 33. And we've seen that's a pretty good cross section of playing. And then you got DiNucci, who started 1 game in 2020. So, and of course, you've got Russell Wilson's $55 million is sitting in the room, too, of dead money. So you have to figure it out. Now, the issue is they don't have a second-round draft pick because they gave that up for Sean Payton when they got him, the first round last year, the second round this year. The problem is if you don't love the guy, if you don't really believe that guy can come in and start, then you're just in a different version of what's in the rest of that room.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
So there has to be a conviction that guy can come in and do it.
You have a question?
Sure.
Herbert and Mahomes are right there. Are they drafting J.J. McCarthy supposedly in this world and think that he's going to be better than those guys or on par with those guys? Or otherwise Sean Payton's like, I'm cool with having the 3rd worst quarterback in the AFC West.
Sean's got to do something. Sean was brought there to fix Russell Wilson.
Well, what choice do you have when Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert are on there? There's a great chance that you're always going to have the 3rd worst quarterback. I mean, Mahomes is amazing, and Justin Herbert is amazing. So, I don't know what you do. If anything, his whole idea with McCarthy would be to build this amazing team on a rookie quarterback deal and try to be essentially the 49ers. Not saying that Brock Purdy is a scrub, as I've praised Brock Purdy in the past, but Brock Purdy is not on the level of Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes. So Brock Purdy was the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, and they built a great team around them. Brock Purdy has proven that he can, come pretty close to beating Patrick Mahomes. So that would be, in theory, good enough. But, of course, you need to have an elite roster. So that might, in a lot of ways, be the only play. But you're acting like it's just very easy to draft a quarterback who's better than Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. I mean, what are we talking about here?
And he didn't. Sean was brought there to fix some of the other offensive problems, and he didn't. So now he's got to go and legitimize this idea that he is a quarterback guru, and he's got to take some young talent and make it work. Otherwise, You're paying $20 million a year for 2 years. You've got all this dead money for a quarterback you're supposed to make work, and you've given up a first and second round draft pick, and now you've got nothing? How do you justify that?
The Broncos are in a spot where they're either going to have to mortgage future draft capital to move up to get a quarterback, or take the 5th or 6th quarterback off the board. That's what's happening tomorrow night. One of those two
but
things.
If you don't believe that McCarthy is that much better than Penix or
yeah, that's fine.
Nix,
then you're going to wait.
And you sit and wait, and you don't mortgage.
You don't mortgage.
All
the
they've
future.
been doing is mortgaging. The future,
Agreed, but
and
then
it's been horrible.
But then you also end up with the 5th.
Yeah. The Broncos are obviously in a difficult situation. You know, there is not an easy out, especially when now Harbaugh is there with Justin Herbert and obviously, as I keep saying, Patrick Mahomes and, you know, Andy Reid and the Chiefs. So the Broncos are in definitely a difficult situation. You know, they should have just, you know, once Sean Payton realized that Russell Wilson wasn't him, he should have benched him and should have said, all right, we're just gonna be awful. We're gonna tank, whatever. Because right now, you know, where they are drafting, you know, they will have to mortgage their future to go up and go get a quarterback. And then if that quarterback isn't legit, then you're in a tough situation because you can't mortgage your future like that. You know, the 49ers would be in a very difficult situation because in a way they mortgaged their future for Trey Lance. And granted, they already had a lot of these other pieces around, but Trey Lance ended up not being him. And so if Trey Lance ended up being, you know, a true bust and Brock Purdy wasn't there to save the day, the 49ers wouldn't be in the Super Bowl right now. So Brock Purdy bailed them out. And that is very lucky. Very lucky. That is just pure luck of what happened with Brock Purdy. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. So that's the problem. The 49ers wouldn't be the 49ers if that was the case. And it's just tricky because if they didn't have some of the pieces like the Christian McCaffrey and, you know, Ayuk or Debo, and they had to now go out, move up, you know, mortgage the future to go get a top-level quarterback, you then don't have the draft capital or the ability to now go build that great team. So now you have a pretty good quarterback, but you don't have a good team around him. And then, you know, you continue to suffer and struggle. So the Broncos, in a lot of ways, are damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's why Nick Wright is so happy, obviously, because he doesn't like the Broncos being a Chiefs fan. So it's a pretty interesting situation. And there's definitely a lot of pressure on Sean Payton. Because as we've talked about previously, Sean Payton definitely had this reputation as being a quarterback whisperer, you know, this, you know, top, you know, offensive-minded coach. And now it's like, all right, well, let's see what you got. You know, was Russell Wilson really not good enough for you to be able to make moves? You know, a previous coach went to multiple Super Bowls with him. You know, did you use him as a scapegoat, or was he really that much washed? You know, so it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this unfolds. There's a lot of fascinating storylines that are going to unfold this next season that I really, really can't wait. From the Cowboys, from the Broncos, from the Chargers. Like it's going to be really interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Do you think the Denver Broncos should go out and draft another quarterback? And should they draft J.J. McCarthy? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.